Now we're all going to be camera shy.
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, dude. So we're talking about responsibilities, and I'm not trying to hate on anyone on the internet for flexing their Lambos or their steak dinner lifestyles or their Rolexes, because obviously those are nice materialistic things. But when we speak to the individual or the father or the family man who necessarily doesn't want those or a need for those materialistic things, we strive for family vacations, we strive for family dinners, we strive for experiences. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Well, I think a huge component is one, when does the shift occur? Because before I had my son, I wanted all the shiny things because it validated me. After I had my son, all of a sudden, I wanted the experiences. I wanted to live the life. I wanted to build a life that I could share instead of one that was just going to be defined by a bunch of shit.
Well, and I think you're right, dude. But I think for me, personally speaking, being able to travel the world at such a young age and experiencing those cities and experiencing that brotherhood in the RV and the camping, we did a lot of hotels, but we also did a lot of campgrounds because we had a beautiful bus that we would just park in Montana and spend a couple days off a tour doing that. So as I grew older and I had a family of my own, I loved sharing, and I still do love sharing those experiences with my kids. Like to me, my flex is taking off on a Thursday, not coming back till Monday, on a
Yeah.
river trip with my whole family. That's my flex. That costs some dime. You know what I mean? So what about you, Steve? What's your flex?
I mean, I've been flexing for 10 years, having my wife not work. I
That's
mean,
beautiful.
having my kids at home every day, having my kids homeschooled. I mean, I'm not that dude. I have two nice cars. I have a nice Jeep and a nice Tahoe.
You got a sick Jeep,
Yeah, I use it every day. My
but it
flex
fits
would
your,
be
it
like,
fits your whole family too, right?
yeah. My flex would be like being able to go to like Knott's or Disneyland and just not have no budget. And just be able to just buy food and not be worried about it. My flex would be like spending a day not worrying about work.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about like what's coming up, what's going on. Like it just shifts like all that stuff people with the Lambos and the watches and stuff. It's all cool and all, it's flashy and shiny, but it's all empty.
These
That
well, I
Lambo's
mean,
gonna lose.
these guys have no responsibilities outside of taking care of themselves.
That's
So maybe
yeah.
maybe the shift will happen when they have a child, or maybe not. Because I know some dudes that have kids that flex, but they don't fucking see their kids.
Yeah, I think a huge component to it though is there's no wrong answer to it, but inevitably you'll realize that the things don't give you the same purpose that having a real vision does. I mean, attaching material shit, don't get me wrong. I love spending money on shit
Yeah,
still to this day, but it doesn't give me the same purpose it does when I get to take my wife and my son on a trip and not have to worry about how I'm going to make that money back on the back end of that trip. A lot of people
Right.
nowadays they'll take a vacation, 3 days to get warmed up to that comfort zone to where you can leave your stress at home. The last 2 days are going to be worried about how you're going to make money to be able to like dig out of the hole that this vacation put you in.
sure. And
And
I agree.
that's a
Yeah,
pretty common state.
yeah, and I agree. The materialistic things, yeah, I love spending money, but I always have the thought of, does it serve my family? You know what I mean? When I buy anything now, regardless if money is an issue or not, the thought comes up, is this, do I need this? Or my family comes first. And I typically will buy my family. Like I wear the same shirts all the fucking time because they're comfortable. I wear my brand. I like today I've got Brandon on, but like I love buying new clothes like this, but I always put my family first. You know what I mean? Like I'll buy them something before I purchase something for myself. And that's
Yeah.
usually how it goes. And yeah, dude, like I don't hate on anyone flexing. There's a lot of really cool dudes out there that are flossing some really cool shit. And I know where their heart is. But I would like to know if the shift is going to change when they have a family, or if they're going to get the truck over the Lambo, or the badass SUV before the Ferrari.
Well, I mean, how many seats does a Lambo have?
Two.
Two. How many seats does my Jeep can hold? Five people. How many can my Tahoe?
I fit seven in my
Eight people.
Traverse. You know what I mean?
Like,
That was my wife's dream car was a Traverse, and we've got a 2020 Traverse, and it fits the whole family plus my dogs. You know what I
well,
mean?
eventually, It's like I was in the hobbies, so many hobbies where it was just me doing the thing, right? It was just me riding the dirt bike. It was just me playing golf. It was just me. And after a while, you're like, I don't want to do this if I can't do this without them.
Yeah.
Like I need somebody behind me. I take my son with me to when I go play paintball or airsoft or whatever the case is. I take my family with me when we go camping, off roading, or whatever. It's a whole purpose. You know, what I mean, these things that you get into, it's they'll build this big house. It's just empty. Like I do a side job for UPS, and I see a lot of big, nice houses completely empty. There's no, you can't tell that there's nobody home unless they're at work.
The
You
empty,
know what I mean?
the empty condo top floor with just a couch and maybe a mattress on the floor.
Oh, it's super simple. Yeah, like it's not lived in. There's no kids. There's no nothing. You can tell it's probably one or two people. Big house, 4 or 5 bedroom, tall ceilings. You know, LED lights everywhere and all this different stuff. It's
So,
just empty and cold.
all right, what's going on, guys? I wanted to cut in on this video really quick to extend the offer for you to come in and work with the Force of Focus in a much more community-based level. Now, all of the information that I provide here is extremely valuable and important for you to know about the industry that you're in, but being able to work in a room full of artists who are all not only applying the systems, but keeping each other accountable changes the entire trajectory of your success and of your scalability. So if this is something you're interested in, we're going to attach the link down below in the description. Let us know if you have any questions. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, but make sure that you are willing to roll the dice. You have to be able to get up and get out. You have to be able to play the game, not just ride the bench. And this is exactly where you can do that. It's not your run-of-the-mill program. This is community approach. This is how we work together and we navigate the sea of uncertainty in this creative career path. I cannot wait to see you in there with us. You guys both had families before. I mean, obviously before I did. Your kids are notably older than mine. Mine's 2.5. I never thought I was going to have kids. Not because I didn't want them, but because I didn't think I was responsible enough to have them. You know what I mean? So I designed my life around the madness, the chaos. But then when it came time to have my son, because I was 36 when I had my first fucking kid. You know what I mean? And that's when everything shifted for me, where it was like everything that I have, all of the materials, all of the things, all of the flexes now don't really mean nearly as much. And I didn't have a lot to show for how I could set him up for the future. Where, I mean, getting to start a family young, knowing that you want to have a family young is more of a flex to me than finding myself in a position later in life to be like, oh fuck, now I have to make these adjustments. I have to make these new brand pivots because now everything I do is for that family. It's not a matter of do I buy this or that. It's the only thing that matters is this, you know?
And I think it's important when we speak to our avatar and, you know, the people that don't know what the avatar is your ideal client. And, you know, a lot of these guys will market to a younger demographic that may want the Lambo lifestyle, that's not ready for a family or that doesn't want the kids. And that's perfectly fine, as where we speak to the gentlemen, the comeback kids in their late 30s, their early 40s, and even up to their 50s that never got to experience time freedom or not worrying about paying their bills on time. And that's really who I like to speak to, is the dudes who struggle, because I lived a life of just making sure my bills were paid and I had enough cushion in case of an emergency. And I'm fine with that. I grew up very middle class, very didn't get what I wanted when I wanted it. And I've always had that mentality. So now anything I want extra, I got to work a little bit harder. I got to do an extra project, you know, if I want that big expense or that big vacation. So when we speak to that avatar, it's speaking to the dude that's hurting, that's constantly just busting out their check and then it's gone the next month. And then they're fighting for that next check to keep the electric on, that may have 1 or 2 kids that have never experienced a Vegas vacation or the camping trip to be able to rent a trailer or any of that. And I think that's important when people speak to their audience. Who are you speaking to? And usually it reflects on ourselves or a better version of ourselves.
I think one big thing that I do take a lot of pride in from the person I was to the person I became is the fact that the one thing I always want my son to have from his father is my work ethic. Because Katie and I are extremely traditional in the sense that she stays home, she does the woman's stuff. You know, I work my ass off on all of these businesses, on all of these dreams, and she supports that, not so that my son can have more stuff, but so that he understands what to become, what to look for, and different ways to think. Because if you just live your life with this, I just want more stuff, I just need more stuff, I need, you don't really have a mindset or a belief system of I will. And that's the one thing I got from being a degenerate who didn't stop to an actual entrepreneur who doesn't stop is I live my life solely based on I will actions.
Yeah. And that's a huge step, because you saw my shift when it was, I used to have the I want. I one day I think I can, to I will. And everything I've done and set my mind to, I've had that work ethic that I fucking complete, and I see it through until it's completed.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't teach that to the younger generation unless they are visually witnessing that.
Yeah. Well,
They grow up with that.
it's a preparation thing because you see so often, whether it's in men and women who want to get out of a 9 to 5 or hobbyist creatives who want to start a professional career, a lot of people are very prone to be 75 percenters. You know, they make pivots slightly too early, and that's I want and I need produces subpar results, because when it feels like you're there enough, then you go into the next thing because that's where the obsession is, you know. But when you're an I will individual, you're never satisfied, even with the completed project, but it is completed. And now you know what it is you can do better in your next I will, you know, and being able to share that with your family and your team and the people who rely on you, the eyes and the ears that are always present in the actions that you're taking. That's my flex now. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of that has to do with your confidence. That I will, you have to be confident enough in yourself. And until you have that confidence to strive for something so much bigger than what you've already been doing, is a huge mark. And I think that's why what we've got here with multiple businesses is the system. We build confidence. We work on mindset with these folks, and we let them know it's okay to dream big. But if you're going to dream big, go after it with your whole heart.
Yep.
Don't go half-ass in anything you do.
Yeah. Well, it only works if it's bigger than your belief. You know what I mean? We just did a call the other day about I don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest terrorist is your own negotiation with yourself, because every individual has a wild dream they refuse to talk about because it seems unrealistic to who it is they would say it to. So then they start negotiating with themselves. What seems more realistic? What's a more small, achievable goal? But then you're never satisfied with it. And eventually that just becomes your autopilot is good enough. You know, I want or I need is vastly different than the delusional dream that only I will can get you to.
And that's funny you said that, because we always tell people, oh, just baby steps, one step at a time. And I don't think that's realistic when shooting for your profession or your goals, maybe for your micro habits or your morning routines or your diet. But when we're speaking in terms of building something bigger than what you've already, setting out for that big achievable goal, It's big steps. It's big boy time. It's time to fucking get to work.
But when it's only for you, small achievable goals are easier to achieve. I mean, you can have the Lambo with smallest achievable steps because you don't have to provide for anybody. You can be selfish in that. When it becomes you providing for others or you guiding and leading others, all of a sudden your delusion isn't just for you, it's for everyone who you can impact. So, I mean, a lot of the time when you look at a lot of these influencers, even though they're speaking to the masses, their outcome is only designed for them. It's not for who they work with. It's not for who they surround themselves with, no matter how they want to position it. It's all very selfish induced, which is fine. You know, I'm a firm believer that the only way I can be the best father or the best husband is if I'm extremely selfish, because then my son and my wife get the best version of me at all times.
That's it.
But if I don't have them in my life, if they were not present, my selfishness would only put me in the only thing that matters.
But would you buy a Lambo?
No, I fucking hate Lamborghinis. I
was a fan of them. I collected back in the day. I was obsessed with every model, but then at a certain age, it was like, I just want the fucking nice truck, or I drive a Jeep, dude, and I fucking love it. I'm due for an upgrade here, but the Lambo is the last thing.
If Katie wanted one, I'd get her one.
Would you?
But for me, I mean, I don't think she would, because like we were saying earlier, how the fuck is she supposed to fit a family in a Lambo? She's not going to want one. That's
why I love my wife, because the first thing when I showed her I had a I had a 68 Cadillac Coupe de Ville that was slammed to the ground for many years. When I bought my first house, I actually sold it. I didn't have room in the driveway for that boat, but I showed Angela and she's like, we need that. And I'm like, I'm going to get that. But it might be a 67, maybe not a 68.
Yeah.
But that's the shit I strive for is muscle cars or
Yeah.
a project I can work on in my driveway, and fix it up and put my own touch. I love buying brand new cars, but don't get me wrong, but there's nothing like buying an older car and like working on it, dude, and spending the last, some good years with my stepdad, maybe like on the weekend, just working on that engine. That's the shit right there.
The
Experiences.
The reason I got good at airbrushing was because I got certified for auto because I wanted to do gas tanks and classic cars. And I don't have the garage space to be able to just fuck with shit like that. So I've taken all like my hyper detail stuff and just done it on canvas, but that's neither here nor there. Before I have to rip, what is your greatest I will statement that will positively impact your future and your family?
That's a tough one, dude. And I don't want to sound cheesy, but it's always going to be, I will be better than I was yesterday. Is that lame?
Yeah. Do better.
Like an actual event or actual something's going to come.
No, but it is lame, dude. But I've always told myself that because every day, and I hate saying 1% better, but there's so much truth in that statement that like yesterday's gone. Like, what are you doing about today? So I don't know. That was just the first thing I thought of.
I think the 1% better analogy works well for people getting started.
Yep.
To a degree, because some people look at that as, oh, that means I don't have to try that hard. You know what I mean? So like how you perceive that statement is going to determine what your I will statement is. If I will do 1% better, people are like, oh, then I'm not going to try that hard at all. 1% seems so small. I can get away with doing the bare minimum. Where me, it's that is entry level. I will do 1% better is in relation to me going 100% yesterday.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's your question, so you're going to have a really good answer. So go ahead, tell us, Mikey.
I didn't set up like a written response to it.
You got it on your desktop. I will.
Mine is, I don't know. I will create a legacy that will challenge my son, but he will have the desire to accept any challenge that comes his way. I don't want to give him a life that doesn't require him to work. I want to give him a legacy that inspires him to want to go twice as hard as his dad did.
Yeah.
And I think that matters a lot to me because like I didn't really have a family from what most people know growing up because I'm adopted. And so my son's the only blood relative I have. And I want to be able to give him everything I learned through my hardships as lessons learned and opportunities provided without giving him money as a resource nearly as much as giving him all of the tools and all of the opportunities that he can then take and build upon.
Yeah. I like that. I will say though, my last I will was, and I accomplished it was, I will have a home big enough for all four of us with my own office and finally a room for my daughter. Because every place I've lived between two apartments and then this last house Angie and I were in, we shared rooms with her, and that has been such a big goal and an I will that now, I've got the office space, I've got the room, the 4-bedroom house, and it's big enough for all of us and the dog. So, and then my next I will be our flagship hub in 2026. 2 of them possibly.
Yeah. Love that. Hell yeah, guys. Well, I've got to jump. This was fucking fun. Short rips are where it's at.
Welcome to the Ripper, Stever.
Always here.
Our producer, Steve, behind the scenes, always working.
In front of the scenes today.